Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be revisiting Home Assistant. I'm going to recreate the operating system setup tutorial where we get Govee responding to different stimuli in your network and in your environment. Originally, I had made a video where I show how to get the Govee light show set up to be time synced and controlled. That will be touched on in this video because I do want to make sure everybody can get that set up, but I also want to show like how to make team tracker work on Home Assistant to cause your Govee lights to change when something happens for your favorite team. And so we'll be definitely jumping into some of that as well. So if you're here for that, you want to see some cool tech stuff, stick around. My name is Connor. This is where the informal tech reviews live, and we'll get you up and running. All right. So there's actually many ways that you can install Home Assistant, and the easiest one is going to be just picking up a Home Assistant green box. That's super easy. You can click on it. It'll take you to where you need to go, and you can just buy it. And then all you do is connect it to your network, and you're good to go. But for me, what I've done previously is the DIY with Raspberry Pi, which was very easy. If you want to see that process, definitely head over to that previous video on the channel, and that'll kind of walk you through getting it set up on your Raspberry Pi. But basically, you just flash the image to your SD card, get it to connect to your network, and you're up and running. But today, what I want to do, because I've seen a lot of requests on it for the channel, is install Home Assistant on Windows. I've never done this before, so you guys will be kind of going along with me for this ride, but let's see basically what we need to do. And so it looks like there's going to be a virtual box that you'll have to just kind of run. So I'm going to go ahead and download the virtual box. I need to create a virtual machine. Do I have VirtualBox set up on this PC is the question. Okay, so you'll search for VirtualBox, and looks like, boom, right away you can just go ahead and download it. So I'm going to do Windows hosts. Looks like it's in the exe. I'm going to download the unverified file. And once it's done, I can literally just go ahead and run it. Accept your license agreements, definitely look through and read anything that needs to be in here. Now it'll install any dependencies that it needs. While that runs, I'll check and see. Looks like we did get the OVA. Okay, so now that we have it downloaded and set up, what we'll do is pop it open. You cannot do the import, but what you'll do is go to new, and I'm going to call it Home Assistant. I'm going to say it's a Linux device. No ISO has been selected. Under hardware, you need to enable EFI. Make sure that you have enough memory available. So you need 2 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of storage, and at least 2 CPUs. And so I'll set it to 2 CPUs. Go to, wait, how much RAM did it say? 2 gigabytes of RAM. So that's probably okay. And then 32 gigabytes of storage, and use EFI, I believe it said it needed. Yeah, make sure EFI is enabled, otherwise it won't load. And just go ahead and hit finish. Okay, so once you have it created, you're going to head over to settings, and from there you'll click on storage. Then you'll navigate down here, click on your Home Assistant.vdi, and you need to click this button where you choose/create a virtual hard disk. And what you'll need to do there is head over to your downloads folder and you look for HAOS OVA VDI. And so from there, you just hit OK. And I think we're probably good to boot it up, but let's go back and check. Network. Okay, so we need to make sure our network settings are good. Network. We're going to have to set it to bridged adapter. Audio. Choose Intel HD audio as audio controller. So I don't see an audio controller set up here. So you may need that. If you see it in there and you want to select it, definitely go ahead and do that. I don't have that right now, so I'm just going to skip it. We'll hit OK. And then you can start it up. One part that we need to make sure we do when we're setting up the virtual box is head into the BIOS of your computer if it doesn't work for you or if you haven't done this before. And you'll need to find the CPU configuration setting for virtualization. Now for me, that's SVM mode. You can see mine is disabled currently, so I need to go ahead and enable that, and then I can save changes and exit. And then when I boot up, it should be okay to run the virtual box. So once you have all your settings configured properly and you made sure that your hypervisor is turned on for virtualization, you can go ahead and boot up your Home Assistant VirtualBox, and you can see it'll immediately start doing things. And this is going to look pretty familiar if you watched the other video where we set up the Raspberry Pi, because I think I hooked up the display into a capture card and kind of showed how that was working. But basically, this is going to start all the processes it needs for Home Assistant, and then you can configure network settings from in here, but if it's connected to your network via Ethernet already, you shouldn't have to do that. You can probably just head over to the website once it's started and it's running. I do have mine hooked up to my little mesh satellite over here, and so it should just connect straight to the network. Okay, so now that it's booted up, you can see that it does have its Home Assistant URL and Observer URLs all set up, and so what I can do is either adjust it in here if I wanted to use the command line to do that, or I can head over to my browser, and because it's connected to my network and it already is set up, I can go ahead and head to the Home Assistant URL, and you can see right away it's preparing Home Assistant. So let me switch over so you can see that a little better. It may take 20 minutes or more, so I'll go ahead and pause it and come back once it's set up. Okay, so while the Home Assistant stuff is getting set up, I wanted to go and skip ahead to the Google Assistant SDK stuff that you need to set up. And so in order to be able to control a lot of the Govee lights, you can use Home Assistant within like the Govee integrations, but that kind of sucks. And so at least for my purposes for making my light show and setting up reaction to different team scoring and things like that, I use tap to runs within the Govee app that are controlled by Google Assistant. And so we'll follow this tutorial, link in the description. But basically what you do is head over to here, because let's say we don't have any credentials set up yet, scenario 2, and we'll have to go get a client ID and get our Google developers things set up. So first you'll head over to this website, which is the Google API. Okay, so once you are in, you go to create a new project, and you can call it just Govee things or whatever you want to call it, and we can go ahead and hit create. And from there, it's going to create the project. Now I already created one, but you go into the new project once it's created. You can see I'm in the Govee things project, and I'm going to head over to APIs and services. Now I need to enable the Google Assistant API. So Google Assistant API, enable. Okay, so Google Assistant API is enabled. What we'll do is head back to the tutorial, and we've created our project, we've enabled the API, so we have to go to APIs and services under credential, but it looks like it wants us to go to the OAuth consent screen, so we'll just go straight to there, click OAuth consent screen, get started. I'm going to call it HA Govee, Home Assistant Govee. And you're going to just use your email that you want to use for that one. And so I'm going to drop that one in there. It needs to be external. Hit next. And your contact information should be whatever email you're using and you care about. And then you can hit continue and create. From there, you'll head over to audience and just make sure to publish the app. And then we need to go to clients. So client, create client, application type is going to be web application, and under authorized redirect URLs, or is that an I? It might be URIs. You need to drop this in there, my.homeassistant.io, and then create. But you'll want to be able to grab these, right? So just copy and paste these somewhere important. Because you'll need to have that, or you can just download your JSON. Then you'll be able to go ahead and get started. You have everything you need to move over to the actual configuration portion, which you do by adding the integration into My Home Assistant. Now, before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one because it's not actually the one I'm going to use. And so now that's gone. But we can see that this is still not done loading, so once it is, we'll come back and get started setting it up. We've created the smart home. It's loaded up. So what we'll do is we'll go through, and you need to create your name, username, password, confirm your password, and then you'll create your account. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll come right back. Okay, once you create your account, it's going to ask you about your home. You just put in some of your demographic information in there, and you can choose what diagnostic information you want to bring over to Home Assistant. And it automatically is scanning your network for devices that it thinks are going to be compatible. And so you can pick to set these up. I'll go ahead and finish. And right away you can see the streamer in the kitchen and just mostly Google things. And then just some information about weather and stuff in my area because I filled out my demographic information. But from here, we can immediately start going into some of the automations and stuff, because what's cool about using the Google SDK for our controlling of our devices is we don't actually need to set up the Govee app or any of those integrations. We just need to set up the specific one for the Google SDK. That's going to be in the tutorial still. And so let me switch over to window capture so we can see it. And right away in the tutorial, you can see there's an add integration to my Home Assistant. And so you can literally click this button and you can go to your URL and it'll open up your page. And so it'll ask you, do you want to set up Google Assistant SDK? Say yes. All right, and once that's ready, you can literally use the client information that you got from Google. And so that was on this page where we kind of talked about it, but you have your client ID and your client secret, and then you just give it a name and you're in. Boom, good to go. Okay, now once you put your information in there, you're able to see it successfully authenticates and you're good to go. You can start using it. And so that's really awesome because that's pretty much all we need to be able to get started with our Govee connections. We're going to need the team tracker one if we're going to make one for team tracker. And so what we'll need to do is get Home Assistant Community Store in. So move over to Home Assistant to the HACS integration. And when you come to this website and you go to download, you can literally just click the link and you can open it up in Home Assistant and then you can add it. And so this will be like, do you want to get HACS or HACS? Home Assistant Community Store. You say install. Now this won't actually install the community store into your device, but it's an easy way to be able to install it. I think in the previous video, we probably had to do some manual repository adding, and this one should kind of automate all that for us. Okay, it's the next day because I forgot to finish filming this once it was done, but basically we got this get HACS add-on put in, and now we're going to go ahead and start it. And then we need to go to the add-on logs and follow the instructions that are there. So log, and it looks like it's just getting to work. Now, depending on your install method, this could take a while or it could be pretty quick. I guess it depends if you gave it a lot of processor power and RAM, or if you use like VMware. From what I was looking online, it looked like maybe the VMware setup is a little bit quicker. But for this purpose, we're just going to keep going with the VirtualBox one because I think that's pretty easy and straightforward. But I'll just let this run and we'll come back once I see some instructions. So it looks like the zip has been downloaded. It took like a really long time. Not like nothing crazy, but for only 18 megabytes, feels like it took a long time. But it's working. It says to restart Home Assistant before you configure it. And that's it. So you don't really have any instructions to follow in here besides restart. So I'll go ahead and do that. Restart. Okay, now that it's all booted back up, we need to clear our cache and refresh this page, and we should see the Home Assistant Community Store over here on the side. Okay, so I've refreshed, or I've deleted my cache, and I've closed and opened the browser. And now what I'm going to make sure to do, because it's not actually popping up there, but I think I needed to add the integration first, maybe. So head over to your integrations and search for HACS. Yep, there it is. If you don't know how to do any of these things, familiarize yourself with those, I guess. And you have to go verify your session. Okay, and once you've authenticated it with GitHub, which you'll need a GitHub account for, you can then go into the HACS store. And you can see just a bunch of extra stuff in here that wasn't originally in Home Assistant. But the one that we care about specifically is going to be, so you can just search for team, and then team tracker is going to be that first one, the red one that shows the ESPN symbol. And you'll want to download it. Okay, so I need to restart Home Assistant after installing it. So go ahead and do that. Okay, and once it's back up, you can head into devices, not add-ons. And then team tracker should pop up. Yep. So you can see I have team tracker right there. And these are the different leagues that you can access. But for this one, we care about the NFL. And since I care about Denver, we'll do DEN. And I think it touches on here. Yeah, so the 2 to 4 letter team abbreviation used on ESPN scoreboards and stats pages. For your team, you should know that. If not, head over to ESPN and find your team stats, and it'll show you right there. And that's it. You hit submit, and you automatically have a device that you can use for, or an entity that you can use for tracking. I didn't name it anything special. It's just team tracker. But now we can head over and create our automation. And so I'm going to start an automation. It'll be new. And the trigger is going to be from our entity we just made. So it'll be from team tracker. You can see there's opponent score and team score and team winner. So team score, that'll be what we use because we care about when they score. So if they score, that will trigger this automation. And you can put like time frames from and to. Those would go under conditions. And so, yeah, so time. If you only want it to trigger when it's like nighttime, you don't want your lights to go crazy during the day because then there's no point in that. You can set that up in here. I personally don't care. I'll let it run whenever. But then you can pick what you want it to do. And this is where it gets interesting because we have the Google Assistant SDK. And so this is what we're going to do. You click Google Assistant SDK, you pick send a text command. And this is where if you have your tap to run set up, you would type activate and then whatever your tap to run was. For me, for this test, I guess I can do set office lights to blue. I'm really quickly going to make a tap to run that just sets my office lights to blue. So I'm going to call it office blue. And the action is going to be in the office. Make sure all these lights are still in here. Yep. Select them all. And I'm going to just set them all to blue. Color, color, blue. And then that should be a little easier. We're going to this one. Color, blue. Color, blue. Now, these can take some time to set up. You can also do it by groups if you have a group set up already for this. And then you wouldn't have to control each light individually. But since we're just testing this out, color blue. Okay, and that's it. And then I'm also going to create a duplicate of this. That will be Office Soft White. And I'm just basically going to revert everything, right? And so okay, now we have Office Soft White and Office Blue. So in our automation, the command is going to be activate Office Blue. And then after that, we can do another one. Okay, yeah, it's not a timer. It's wait for time to pass. So I'll do that, and let's wait 10 seconds. And then after that 10 seconds has gone by, then we can do the next Google Assistant SDK, which is activate Office Soft White. And we'll go ahead and save it. We'll call it Denver Scored. Hit save. And from there we can test it out. So we can pretend that Denver just scored. Run actions. You can see everything just turned super duper blue. And then we'll wait 10 seconds and it switched back. So you can basically set your lights to any combination of your DIYs or snapshots or anything. So if you had an awesome blue and orange one, you could turn that on and then switch it back once it's done. And so I think that's pretty awesome. And that's basically how you do the entire light show, right? And so there's some slight differences that we'll move into now, but for that, you'll just need to play your music, and then you basically rinse and repeat this. So you wait for a trigger, which is your music needs to change to a specific song, and then you set up your tap to run, play it, wait for the song to end, and then switch. Rinse and repeat. Okay, so next we're going to set up MPD, which is how we're going to control our music for our device. And so you're going to head to this GitHub page and you'll add the repository. When you click it, it'll pop up a window and you just hit add. And I did that right here. This is the add button, and you can see I do have my Postal Home Assistant repository there. And then you can come back and click add to Home Assistant, and you can see right there, it'll just be boom, ready to go. So you click install and let it do its thing. Okay, so it is another new day. I started it and then forgot about it, left it again. And so what we're going to do now is actually start the MPD Daemon, right? Once it's running, then we can head over to integrations, add integration, and search MPD. And from there, we're going to have to set up our configuration. And because we're running our MPD, like our music player Daemon, on this device, what we'll do is we'll point it at localhost. And I'll just do the loopback address, so 127.0.0.1, and I'm not going to set a password. Now that might be something that you could configure in the configuration settings. Sorry, my shortcut here is literally the 2 and the 1, and so it switches all my images. But we're back up. I'm going to hit submit and just default. And what I'm going to do is I probably won't move that into an area, so I'm going to skip that. Now what I'm going to do here is actually just restart Home Assistant, because we haven't done that yet since we installed it. So I'm going to make sure to do that, and we'll come back and see if everything is good to go. In order to get the audio to play through your actual machine, what you'll have to do is come into VirtualBox and shut down your VM. I would recommend making a snapshot first, just in case, because VMs sometimes just die for no reason. And then you'll head over to audio. And you have to make sure that your audio controller is set to Intel HD Audio or whatever your actual audio driver is. Mine defaulted to this ICH A971 and it was not playing any audio. Make sure this enable audio thing is checked and you hit OK. Once you do that, you can boot it back up. And after that, you should be able to play audio through your speakers. I would recommend, if you're trying to use it for a Govee thing, maybe hook up a set of headphones to it or connect it to a Bluetooth speaker or something, and then you can run it from there. But we'll let this boot up and then we'll see how that works. Okay, once your Home Assistant has booted back up and you're able to get to your website again, you'll need to make sure that the add-on is actually running. So head over and make sure MPD is running, which it is. And then you can go into your media, make sure you select MPD down here, switch to music player Daemon, then you can go ahead and say play media. And you can hear right away that it is playing through my PC speakers. So that's perfect. That's what we'll need, because the Govee products need to be able to hear it. And you can send it somewhere else if you want, if it's in a better spot. But I would recommend playing it just directly on the device so you don't have to worry about any like buffering or lag or latency. And yeah, from there we can go and adjust our automation. Okay, so from here, we need to get the music set up. So you head into your automations and you're going to need to find a way to play your actual media. Okay, so when you're ready to create your action, you head into add action, you go to media player, and then you'll say play, nope, not play. So let's delete that one. Add action, media player, play media. And then you pick the target, which is going to be media player Daemon in my case. And I pick the actual song that I want to play. And so we're going to play this song. And I'm moving it up because what I want to happen is I'm going to have it change the light back once this song is done. And so here I'm going to add another action. And you're going to search for wait. It's going to be under blocks, but we're going to wait for a trigger. Wait for a trigger, and this trigger is going to be from an entity, and that entity is going to change state. And so the entity is going to be the media player Daemon. And what I want it to do is when it changes, so you'll create your trigger, you'll select your entity, you'll head into off, right? And so then in another window, I'm going to just play some media on MPD. And then when it's done, you see it triggered. And I hit skip for that. And so this triggered, and that's a good test. So now I can save this. And what I'll do is I'll move it up here. So the way our automation is going to go now is it's going to trigger, when the Broncos score. Then it's going to set our lights to blue. It's going to play this song. Then it's going to wait for the song to end, and then it's going to set the lights to soft white. And this is not like a super useful one. I guess if you had a song, a little short audio snippet that you wanted to play, like a horn or something, then you could literally use this. But it's just sort of an example of how you'd be able to set up your automations for a light show. So in my practice, what I'd do is I would play the song, then I would trigger the tap to run, then I would wait for the song to end, trigger the next song, and play the next tap to run, and keep that loop going. And what I do is at the end of it, before I used to have it just wait and only play on like the half hour or something, but I realized that like that has just dead air basically, and people come and then the show's not going, and so I just have it start back over. So at the very end, I have it trigger itself again, and it starts at a certain time, ends at a certain time. That can all be done with your triggers and conditions. Now, let's just test this. We'll pretend the Broncos scored. Okay, make sure you hit save when you do any changes in here, because my original test, it didn't have a save in there, and so it wasn't working how I had hoped. But now we have everything in the right order, so let's go ahead and try it again. Hit run. And you see that the lights turned blue, the audio started playing at almost the exact same time, and it's going to keep waiting until this audio is done before it switches back. But I'm going to pretend that the song went through. Actually, here, let me skip to the end. Can I move it to the end? No, I can't. I'll just hit skip as if the song was over. You can see that it triggered, and then boom, switched back. And so that's how you get the team tracker set up. That's how you get the automation set up. That's how you play music. That's how you do basically everything to get your super awesome Govee Light show set up now. And that's it. That's everything. So I think we hit everything that I wanted to cover. Hopefully it's a little bit easier to digest this time. Basically, you have to get your Home Assistant set up on your VM, get it running, and then make sure you have MPD installed. Now, you don't even necessarily need HACS if you're just doing a light show for Christmas. You need to download your music, put it in the media section, get MPD set up, and then create your automations. Now, the HACS, what we use that for, HACS, Home Assistant Community Store, was to be able to track for team scores. So if that's something you're looking forward to, I definitely am. I'm going to set up an awesome light show, basically, whenever the Cowboys score on Thanksgiving. But yeah, basically, you can create tons of different automations in here, and if you guys have any other cool ideas to use Home Assistant with Govee lights, or even just any other cool Home Assistant things that you have set up, definitely drop a note in the comments. Let me know what you got going on. There's a ton of other things. I have my Rivian and my Tesla set up to my main Home Assistant stuff on the Raspberry Pi, but hopefully this tutorial was useful for you, and if you gained something out of it, definitely hit the like button. If you want to see some more content like this, hit subscribe. Definitely appreciate everybody sticking around this long. If you get your awesome light show set up, definitely check out the email in the channel description and show me what you got. Let me see. Let's see what's going on. Definitely appreciate you guys again. Until next time, my name is Connor. This is where the informal tech reviews live, and we'll see you. Peace.